There's a place that is near downtown Laramie that retains a traditional neighborhood feel. It's the West Side, a portion of Laramie that has stayed true to its roots. But those roots are spreading.
There are so many things I love about the West Side.
The trains, you can feel them, you can hear them.
You can smell people roasting their green chili in their yards, and it brings back such warm, heartfelt feelings because that is such a piece of the culture. And I love the people. They just seem to be that friendly, kind. Families that were anchored here, they're still here.
The West Side isn't your typical neighborhood. It has a proud history reaching back to Laramie's founding, a history we want to honor. At the heart of the neighborhood is the Lincoln Community Center, living proof that pride of ownership runs deep in the West Side.
My mother and a lot of other wonderful neighbors in this community said, we could make something out of this building. We would make dozens and dozens. I remember one time making 100 dozen of enchiladas, peeling potatoes and onions and shredding cheese to sell to be able to raise funds. As we made the improvements to the Lincoln Community Center, other people, I believe, started to see that.
The bootstrap ambition still guides the future of the West Side. For growth to happen here, it must tie into the existing fabric.
It's so nice being next to the river and the greenbelt and downtown, and I feel like we're kind of sandwiched in between the social life of Laramie and the mountain life.
So much is. It's like you're living, you have all the amenities of living downtown while you're living in a quiet neighborhood.
It's a really diverse neighborhood in terms of both the housing. I mean, most of the houses are 100 to 150 years old, but there's also some new builds. Someone just put a really cool tiny house in close to us, which is just really awesome to see the diversity of homes and then also the diversity of the people in terms of generation, ethnic background. There's a really strong sense of independent, creative community.
But growth is happening. Change is coming to the West Side. But as we change, so must we pay tribute to its roots.
It's really important that the West Side stays eclectic and its own.
I think the West Side is awesome. I think that it has a nature and a soul to it and a creative vibe to it that I would love to see have the activity from the other side of town spread to over here and see what that did for it.
Although we can't predict the future, the West Side is poised for growth.
We have Bud's Bar. It's, you don't see an actual neighborhood bar that often.
I'd like to see more business owners come in.
This growth will forge a new path for a mixture of new and needed housing types, as well as a path for businesses and economic growth occurring at a neighborhood scale. In conjunction with an EPA Brownfield assessment grant, Ayers Associates and the City of Laramie have conducted multiple Phase 1 and 2 environmental studies to assess perceived contamination issues on the West Side. With the studies complete and generally favorable findings in the studies, development and growth can be less focused on perceived contamination and instead focused on positive growth for the present and future West Side. Imagine that along with the investment near the river, some of the colorful historic houses and structures could also be restored.
I was looking at that old church over there the other day thinking what a groovy restaurant that would make.
My childhood home was built on Hodgman Street from my father and grandfather's hands. And back then they used to build homes out of stucco, and they would build one room at a time and add on to it. I would love to see a bakery, I'd love to see a gas station and a grocery store. One thing we've never had close was a grocery store, and I would love to be able to see those expansions for our people here on our historic West Side community, as well as some sort of health care. I'd love to see that close.
As the West Side grows, join us as we shape the future for this neighborhood, as we can't get it right without you.